One of the cheapest engraving blanks out there are Cork coasters. They are really inexpensive and really versatile. We're using the xTool F2 today, and I'm going to show you two different things. Photo engraving on a coaster to get some amazing results, and also logo engraving as well. So you can do with two different methods and strings to your bow. So if you really would like to learn something new, get to know your xTool F2, or just have a little bit of fun, stick around because I'm going to show you everything. In terms of what we need, the xTool F2 is our laser. We'll be using the diode laser and these round Cork coasters. I buy them in a pack. I think there were 20 in there. These ones are from Amazon, but you can get them from loads of sources. I'll include a link in the description, but they are cheap and they are really, really practical and can be used in so many different ways. For placement, you can just lay them on here if you want, but what I personally prefer to use is I like to use a jig to actually centralize them and allow repeatability in the future. And what this allows is us to pull it into the same position every time. So if we want to do multiple of these, we can batch produce them and be really efficient. The first thing we want to do is focus the laser so it's the optimum height away from the surface of our object. You'll see the blue and red dots are not joined together. So using that dial right there, we are going to turn it, in this case, anti-clockwise until the two dots join together. And if you're not sure what that does, it moves that head up and down, as you can see there. And we are good. We're focused. We can move into xTool Studio. So here we are on xTool Studio's main screen. We're going to click on New Project in the top right, and what that will do, it will connect to our machine and it will take a snapshot of our background. We're using the xTool F2, which does have a camera. There you go. So we manually focus the laser on top of the surface, but you'll see over here on the right, if I just zoom in, there is no thickness by default. That's just a little quirk. You can either adjust the knob on the side of the machine to fix that, or we can actually click on auto measure, and that's what we're going to do here. And what that will do is it will turn the light off on the machine. The laser will then focus off the top automatically, and then it would automatically, as you can see there, update the millimeter distance based on what it deems the optimum distance. So we've done that. We are now focused, so we can move on to the next step. Now we are going to be doing the vector image, so logos, text first. That will be the first one, and I've got a nice trick to show you in a minute. Make sure you stick around because after that we're doing our image one after that. So first thing we want to do is import our vector image, and I have some that I've prepared earlier here. This is a SVG, which is a vector file, and you can see it allows you to scale it up or down basically infinitely, and it retains its structure and its sharpness. So we're just going to put that there first. If you're wondering where I get my designs from, I'll quickly show you that as well. So we're going to move over to something called Creative Fabrica. So I use Creative Fabrica to get a lot of my designs. Most of them are commercially allowable to use, which is great, and all you need to do is type in something that you're searching for, and in this case I'm going to put encouragement SVG. I want an encouraging message to put on this coaster, and you'll see loads of results. So we're going to click on Keep Smiling, which is on the right. It will open up a new tab, and there you can see it says including commercial license. Always check that, but in theory you could put that on something and sell it. Now at this point I want to say there is an affiliate link in the description. If you're considering trying this out, please feel free to use that and help support the channel. So now we've got our image, we're going to click that download button, and in the top right it is going to download it. If we open up that folder, you'll see various different types of files. We've got JPEG, PDF, PNG, SVG. We want SVG in this case. We're going to drag that into our downloads folder, and then we're going to move it back into xTool Studio. So you've already seen me import it, but that is how I got this design, which is nice and simple. So the next thing we want to do is position it on our coaster. So photos are great on the xTool F2, but you always want to manually frame, which we'll do in a minute. So I want this to fill it out as much as possible. So I'm going to grab that handle in the middle, left click drag, and it will scale it up and keep the aspect ratio locked, which is good. So let's fill it out as much as we can, and then the next thing we want to do is go over and frame it. So how do we frame? Let me show you. In the bottom right you will see a framing button. Click those three dots first and you'll see light power. You can adjust how bright it is when you frame it. Rectangular, we'll just do the rectangular outbox around it. We want outline in this case. We want to see the actual design on our thing, so we're going to select that. Then we're going to select the frame button and let's go and take a look. As you can see, our item is perfectly positioned on our coaster. So let's move back into xTool Studio. So now that we're back in xTool Studio, what I want to show you is we need to assign the material of what we are actually engraving onto. So the way you do that is at the top, you'll see unknown material is selected by default. We're going to select it. And then if you see in the middle here, you get the xTool material library, which is a really definitive material library with some good parameters that you can use to get started. What I will say is they're not always exactly amazing, but they're a good place to start. So in this case, we're using Cork. You can see I've already selected them, but if you didn't have that there, just type Cork into here and it will bring up loads of different options. Press enter and there you go. We have some choices for Cork in the wood section. I'm going to click on glued Cork. I'm going to click apply, and then at the top right, it has now put that as our material. Now, if we click on our design, you'll see over here on the right, these are the default settings it gives. It's got something called blue light reference. The blue light is the diode light, and these are the reference materials. If we click on that, which will give us something similar to what it's showing you there. Now, I've tested them, they're okay, but I did my own testing to make my own premium settings, which I think work better, and that's what we're going to use today. So I have set those up over here and I've called it Cork Vector. So if I select that, you'll see now my settings are very different. We're going with blue light, 80% power, 1,750 millimeters a second speed, and 110 lines per centimeter. So that's what we're getting started with. So once we've done that, we are going to move down to the process button because we're ready to process our first design. Now, what you can do if you want to speed this up, here's a little trick for you now, okay? The first trick of the day. What you can do is change the processing path type. By auto, it's going to go left to right all the way down like that, which is okay, but sometimes it can take longer. If you select user defining and then click on smart, what it will now do is it will follow the contour of its fastest route and give you a faster engraving. And if you're doing this as a business, that is far more valuable. So we're ready to click that process button, which we'll do now, and it will say 24 seconds, I think is what this one will take. There you go in the top right, and we're ready to move on. So I'm going to say at this point, the next thing we're moving on to is doing images onto these coasters, which is a different process, different settings. So stay tuned for that. Let's see how this one comes out first. So we'll hit that start button. The machine will beep. That means it's received our design, and now we can do it. One other point to note is the blue laser. So we will be closing the lid for this, and also you need good extraction because cork produces smoke. You don't want to damage your laser or choke out your room, so have it ventilated well. So here's our first one. So what I will say is the reason we're using the jig is now if we wanted to put another one in there just like this, we just have to close it up. It returns to exactly the same spot. If we double tap that, it will process the same job again, which means you can really churn these out fast if you're trying to make them to sell them. Now, the results of that are lovely. It's come out really well and I'm happy. So let's move on to photos next. We're gonna load our item back in the jig, close it down, close the lid and move over to xTool Studio. So now that we've put in our new item, we're gonna refresh the background by hitting that camera and you'll see it is in the same position. So the next thing we're gonna do is import a photo and we're gonna learn how to do photos. There are some key elements to this, so stick around because it's really important you follow the exact process. So the first thing, as we did before, we are going to import our photo. You can do this with any photo you like. I've got AI generated photo of a Labrador here just because it's quick and easy, and you'll see it doesn't fit on the coaster perfectly. So what we're going to do first is apply a mask to take care of that. So at the top here, there's two ways to do it. At the top here is mask, or we can right click on the item and create the mask. Then we're going to select the circle on the left over here. I'm going to position it over the center of the item so that it cuts it off nicely. Click done, and then what we can do is just make it as big as we want then. And I like filling out the whole item personally, so I'm going to drag it down and get it on there just like that. So photo is imported. The next thing we need to do is adjust this image so it's optimized for a cork coaster. This takes us back to our material that we've set earlier. The reason it's so important to assign a material is because it tells the software how it needs to adjust the image to actually complement the material you're engraving on. In this case, it's cork. So what we're going to do in the top middle here, we have adjust. Click on that button, and then over here on the left, you will see you can manually adjust these sliders, and that's what I personally used to do. However, now xTool have got a brilliant feature called auto adjust, and you'll see when I click it, photo itself is optimized, the sharpness, the contrast, the brightness, it's all taken care of by xTool, which makes life so much easier, and I find it works really, really well. So we've done that. Our photo is now set up. We're happy with that. The next thing we want to do once again is we want to frame it. You never rely on the photo, so let's click that frame button, and once again here we're going with the outline frame. I'm going to increase the light power to 10 just so I can see it, and I'm going to hit that frame button, and you can see the outline is all around the edges, but it is not going off the coaster, which is perfect. So we've absolutely nailed that. Let's move on. So now we're moving on to the critical part, which is material settings. I have done some serious testing to get these ones because the default ones were just not very good in my opinion. So by default, what it will try and tell you to do are these settings here. You can try them, see what you think yourself. I did some testing. I'll show you on the screen now the tests, and those tests really managed to get the right balance of darkness and contrast and all of those things. So let's assign those on, and we'll do that by going up here, and I have pre-saved them. If you click on that arrow here, you'll see I've got something called Cork image. That's something I've saved. I have other tutorials that show you how to do that, so check them out on the channel. I'm going to do that, and then our settings right here, 60 dot duration, 30% power, 350 DPI, and Jarvis bitmap mode. That will give us a beautiful finish. So what we need to do now is click on that process button, and that will take us through. You'll see it's an image, so it will take longer. In this case, it will take 4 minutes and 9 seconds, but it'll be worth the wait. Hit that start button, and let's go and see. And there you have the results. For cork, that is amazing because cork is hard to get images on, but I'm so happy with that. So there you have it, the xTool F2. I've shown you both of these methods and we've made some great results. You could take any image and do this. If this video has been helpful to you, we have loads more on the channel, so check them out and give the channel a subscribe if you want to learn more. Also, if you're looking to get an xTool machine, I have some affiliate links in the description that help support the channel and allow me to keep making these videos. Finally, thank you to our L3D supporters who do support the channel and allow me to do this. Have a great day, guys. There's lots more of these to come. See you soon.